is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Welcome to Bizarro World, a week of odd, random, terrible football, games that shouldn't have been close, games that were blowout, and another one bites the dust.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I mean, typically there's always going to be one they bite the dust eventually. I know you were talking about it before. You just love it when undefeated teams go down. I mean, Dolphins fans will forever love that. But
Yep.
yeah, it was overall not a very good fantasy day of football. Not a good real life day of football. But I guess you'll have these kind of days every now and then.
I'm going to disagree. For me, personally, I'm probably going to win more games this week than I've won in any weeks total. That might mean either my team's got really lucky, or I'm really bad at fantasy. I think it's the first one, because I tend to know who to play. I mean, I put a bunch of Adam Thielen in my DFS. I had Adam Thielens and Chuba Hubbards all over
All
the
right,
place.
so let me rephrase that. Just in terms of basic fantasy numbers, this was probably one of the worst
Oh,
weeks of the week. So I mean, I'm not necessarily saying your individual day was bad or good. My individual day was bad or good. But looking at the fantasy numbers as a whole, the numbers were way, way down this week
oh
as
yeah.
compared to other weeks.
I mean, I'm primed to win high score of the week with what, like 30, 40 points less than the usual high score of the week in our one league. So, but yeah, but sometimes within all that's good, all that's bad, there's going to be something there.
Pleasure.
And pain. Go for
Yeah,
it.
I guess we can kick off the pleasure. I guess we can look at this from. We'll bring up two teams here, opposite ends of the spectrum for the day. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins offense, probably like the biggest pleasure of the year so far.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
if you're just looking at Tua, Hill, and whoever's there at running back,
As running back, yeah.
we'll discuss the running back here in a minute. Just focus on the other two, or just in general. Offense is probably the most consistent and the most reliable week to week, correct?
Yeah, Tyreek had like one or two lower weeks, but a lower week for Tyreek's like, what, 65 yards? And we're all like, oh no, the world's coming to an end. It did seem earlier that Jalen Waddle was going to get into the game by getting that first touchdown. But yeah, that's Tua. I might actually have a bold prediction work out for the first time ever. My Homer bold prediction. I mean, that he was my top guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's
So
playing good.
Homerless, regardless, like.
Yeah.
I believed it was going. I believed, just looking at what was happening in the speed, that there'd be. I didn't think it'd be this good. I thought they'd be more along the lines of where we're looking at with like the Bills or someone there. Not like, I mean, we're talking record pace, most yards in 6 games, I believe, since the greatest show on turf. It's fun to watch. I know that much.
Yeah, it's fun. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we're going to go with the 49ers offense here. They've been pretty much unstoppable all year. Purdy finally had a bad game after all the MVP talk and how he's just so great. Finally comes back down to earth. Maybe Brown's defense maybe really is that good, but Purdy played bad. McCaffrey gets hurt. So that's definitely a pain to a lot of people. Kittle, after the big game last week, comes back down to earth. It's just overall, it's just terrible. Ayuk had a decent game, but overall, I mean, this is just a blip in the radar, right?
I think so. I really do believe that Brown's defense is legit. But I mean, an offense isn't going to be good when you lose your gadget guy. Like, no matter what Debo is for fantasy, Debo is the cog in that machine. I truly believe. Like, as a teammate, like he seems to be the guy that keeps them when he's. I don't know. There's a different feel, and then you lose the best player in fantasy. I mean,
yeah, that's the cog. That's the cog in the offense. That's the cog in the offense.
Plus the fact that Eli Mitchell wasn't playing. Like, I think if he was healthy and playing, it wouldn't have been Christian McCaffrey, but there would have been a little bit more, because he's a good player. He just is Mr. Glass.
Yeah, he seems to be always hurt. But I'm not too worried.
I'm not worried
though.
though. No.
I'm not too worried about it. I mean, they've been playing like this. I mean, they still had a chance to win at the end of the game. I know the offense was terrible, but I mean they still had a chance. The rookie kicker
Mm.
missed it. Damn kickers just can't get out of it. So switching, well, go back to the Dolphins offense with the running back. So we got Raheem Mostert, absolutely killed it. So I want to bring in two other running backs here. We got Travis Etienne and then Kyron Williams. All three of these guys are currently like top 5 or 6 RBs. So I want to ask you, are these guys top? Is these guys being top 6 options right now? Are they for real or are they faux real?
Up until I was not on the Kyron Williams train. Like you were looking at what he was doing, and he's gotten better every week. I mean, we're recording during that last game. Last time I checked, he was at like 156 yards or something ridiculous. I don't know what he finalized at, but and then that touchdown, he almost didn't get it, lucky duck. But in the running back world, whatever is hot has to be for real as far as I'm concerned because it's a running back, I mean 158 yards on 20 carries. So if you're playing strong, I think the only one that would worry me actually is my guy. I mean, being this high. Like Mostert, I think still has a good end of the year and they made a point in the game. The first 4 years of his career, he wasn't a running back. So the tread on his tires, he's got very much Fred Jackson kind of a career possible, like 1 or 2 more years even with that. But once Achan comes back, who was the leading rusher till he got hurt, I think he'll lose some carries. But the other two, world's their oyster.
Absolutely. So we're confident in those guys, starting those guys there. I got 2 guys here. I got David Montgomery gets hurt, and he was a big option. Gets hurt again. This is the second time he had the rib injury, never came back. And then we had Dameon Pierce losing work here to Devin Singletary, who has the bigger game. Are you worried about even starting Pierce at this point?
I haven't started Pierce for a couple weeks. I love Pierce. You know me, I'm a Pierce truther. I've been since the get go, and he's I don't know, he's like Cam Akers. Like what happened? Like 2 guys that I really believe are good NFL running backs, but something is off. And it's not like the Texans are bad. They're a really good team right now.
So any interest in Devin Singletary going into next week?
No.
No.
I think. I mean, you're gonna pick him up, right?
Yeah.
If he's on the waiver wire, he's got to be one of the top waiver pickups just because he's a living, breathing running back.
Oh, absolutely. So switching over to wide receivers, I've been watching this Eagles game, and I've always liked AJ Brown. I mean, he's been not my favorite, but watching him this game, is there a possibility that even with the season that he's having right now, is there a possibility we could be talking about AJ Brown as wide receiver 1 before the end of the season?
Not the way Tyreek's playing. AJ Brown top 5 wide receiver. I mean, Tyreek breaks his leg, yes. But I think right now Tyreek has that locked up. AJ Brown, I've never been a giant fan. I ended up with him everywhere all the time, and he's paying off now. I think what we got to do is apologize to him for saying that Devonta Smith might be the better receiver on the team because AJ Brown, since we said that, so let's see, who else do we want to give good luck? Since we said that, he has been balling out, and he looks like the monster of a man that he truly is. Like 7 for $131 so far.
Yeah, I mean, it had a kind of like slow start. First week or 2 was kind of bad, but ever since then, he's just absolutely killing it. Speaking of 2 guys that are killing it, we got Adam Thielen, another monster game somehow, and then Jacoby Myers, who's just consistently doing great things. So these 2 guys are hovering around that 12 to 15 type receiver right now. Are those numbers for real or are they faux real?
I think for this year, I watched Thielen play. Thielen's going to do this the rest of the year. I almost put him in a lineup this week. He's on all my DFS lineups because he's cheap. But I've got to figure out, Nico Collins might be on my bench for a while because Adam Thielen except for week 1, this has been Adam Thielen. They were talking about he's got the most slot receptions. They moved him to the slot, which has changed his game this year. So he's no longer an extra Z or an extra whatever it is, or whatever those letters are. He's no longer an outside receiver. He's a slot guy, and Bryce Young isn't throwing it long. He's pepper. And we've said this Jacoby Myers thing for a month now. So yeah. We are for real. They are both very pleasurable at the moment.
Yeah, going to, of course, doing the opposite end direction. all season, this guy's been disappointing because he's one of my favorite guys. That's Chris Godwin. With the addition of Baker Mayfield as the quarterback, we kind of knew the offense might not be as powerful, as pass heavy, but we thought Chris Godwin would be a little safer of a receiver, and that's obviously not what's going on. Chris Godwin, you're just not starting this guy at all. I mean, is
Right,
this
yeah.
what we
PPR, he got 13 points.
is this what we kind of expect out of this for the whole season? Well, I mean, in PPR, a lot of people score 13 points.
Yeah, but I mean, he's getting. I mean, you
13,
look at
13 points in PPR is kind of like
it was
5
like,
points in standard. I mean, it's
yeah, he's. I mean, he's still like. I don't think he's. I mean, for the day, Evans was worse than Chris Godwin because he got the
oh,
garbage time.
I'm not saying Evans had a
Oh,
good game either, but I'm
Evans has had a
over
better year.
yeah, over the season. Godwin's like the 50th ranked wide receiver right now. I mean, it's not good.
I mean, I'm not as worried. I think the Lions were a good team, and I mean the Bucks were playing good, and I think he's just getting used to. And they made a comment even during this game, like Baker is going to have the timing down with these guys soon. Like I think Baker, he's earned himself at least next year in that team, unless there's an implosion in the next 2 months. But I'm not worried about Chris Godwin. The cream will rise here, especially when he gets timing. And it looks like that rookie Palmer, he looks pretty good too.
Yeah, I'd be kind. I think I'm kind of worried here. Like Baker, not like I said, not a good game today. And if he's not throwing for 300 yards, I just don't think these wide receivers are just going to be as involved as they were. I got two receivers here. Calvin Ridley, another bad week. Just kind of disappointing all around overall. Reading one or two good games, and the return of Cooper Cup, another great game today, has really lowered the value of Puka Nacua here. Another, I don't know, well, last week he did okay, but is this where we kind of see Puka going forward as just maybe he might get a touchdown here and there?
I've been so happy on all the other takes today. Yeah, that this is I thought would like I think last week was the foe, and this week's what we're going to see because Cooper Cup's that good. Hopefully, Cooper takes Puka under his wing. We see the talent that Puka Nakua has, so that means that the team's going to have a decision next year. I don't know what the contract. Like I know they got a good contract on Cooper, but do they pay all that as they're trying to purge, or do they trade him to continue? That's going to be a challenge they got to think about because Puka looked great. Puka looked like Cooper Jr., but I think so. Like I'm worried because you know me and Puka.
Oh yeah, I mean he was a bright spot there in the early, but I mean we get like these kind of guys every year, and once that stud comes back, we just realize that they're going to go to their favorite guy. That's just how it works. I'm going to switch over to tight end. I didn't mention him last week, but with back-to-back decent games, is Kyle Pitts back on the radar?
Um, my buddy at work was telling me he's like, Kyle Pitts has to do it this week. Kyle Pitts is going to be his years, but Kyle Pitts still had basically the same line as Jonnu Smith. So he had 7 more yards than Jonnu Smith. He had 1 more target than Jonnu Smith. So is he on the radar? Yeah, he's a tight end that got 40 yards and a touchdown each week. So yes, he's on the radar. Is he like dead like we thought before? No. Is he the superstar that many people thought he would be? No. And is that Desmond Ritter? Maybe.
Yeah, so my final two pains here. Justin Fields goes down with an injured hand. He wasn't really playing all that well when he left. Back to the beginning years of the Bears, and found out Anthony Richardson might be having season-ending surgery. I mean, that's high disappointment here. So where does Gardner Minshew rank for you going forward if Richardson is out?
I think still probably around 20, 22. I mean, unless they play like some team where all the defense is injured a lot. I mean, that's where I had him this week, really. I mean, he just pooped the bed with all the turnovers. I mean, he 4 turnovers in a game. He's never done that. And I mean, he's going to sling the ball like you were saying. I think they need to get the running backs more involved. 17 total carries there. That could be a major pain this week. They split them. Zach Moss had 1 more, but I think he'll be that he'll super flex, probably a guy you'd be like, hey, I got off the waiver wire. I can use him for it. And you probably, if single quarterback, you're not going to sniff Gardner. It's not a great team, and you don't want a quarterback on a not great team, and that's.
Well, you might be sniffing Gardner if you had Anthony Richardson and you were struggling for another backup. You might be
just had him, yeah. Like I think Richardson.
He might be able to might be able to slide him in there, but overall, yeah, probably not. But like I said, big numbers, like hey, he kind of like fades. I guess kind of like the longer he plays, but yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, luckily, what I think from what I saw, I mean, he still had 300 stinking yards. Most people that got Richardson had an insurance policy,
Yeah,
knowing
yeah,
that he played 13 total games, or said whatever that was in college, the no games, and they weren't great like I was going on about the entire time, but they had that, whoever that was, whether that means they have a Baker or at a low end,
yeah.
or they might have a Stafford or someone there that somebody you'd rather play than,
Yeah,
Jimmy
you
Garoppolo
definitely
got
had to
here.
have a backup going in with Richard because you just didn't know how much he was going to play or if he was going to be any good at all. So yeah, I
You picking
mean,
up Brian
so
Hoyer?
I mean, it didn't look bad.
Jimmy's gone for now.
But what a surprise! Jimmy Garoppolo is hurt once again. I mean, this just never stops. I mean, so I think going in, like future, like going in the future, and you need a quarterback, just go after Jimmy Garoppolo's backup at the beginning of the year because you're going to have a starting quarterback before the end of the season's up or before week three's up.
I just wish somebody in Los Angeles realizes how good Devontae Adams is because they seem to have forgotten that.
No, you know who doesn't forget? Aiden O'Connell. Because when Aiden O'Connell was in there, he was just peppering Devontae Adams left and right. So maybe we need O'Connell to start for Adams to really break out here.
I'll take it. And on a last pleasure, everybody take a moment, go back and look at the replay of the Jamison Williams touchdown. It was awesome. He's falling into the end zone. Defender over him almost takes the ball out of the defender's hand as he falls into the back on his butt into the end zone with the touchdown. It
I
was pretty
think
cool.
what might be a better touchdown from that same game is Amon-Ra St. Brown's touchdown across the middle where Reynolds just completely laid out the defender and Amon-Ra was able to break the corner and score a touchdown. I mean, the block that guy, if you could get points for blocks, that's like a 6-point block right there.
Well, that would
It was
also give
great.
George Kittle like 20 more points because he loves to
Yeah,
block.
George Kittle does like the block. I'd be where he get all his points because he doesn't do anything else.
Oh, man.
Surefire waste of a touchdown.
I was glad you found some pleasure and pain for the week because tell you what, if I was in an all kicker league this week, they might have scored more points than most fantasy teams that I saw
absolutely,
going.
absolutely.
Kickers kill it. Like if you're in a kicker league, your kicker didn't score 20 points, you probably had, I don't even know what team didn't have like 2 or 3 field goals. Like it was ridiculous. The Bucks had 2 field goals, so there's 6 or 7 points. Kickers scored more points than a lot of players this week.
Oh, absolutely. It's like that a lot of weeks.
Okay, so I only got a couple here actually. I got 4, only 4 this week. Everything else was kickers. Like I could have just said.
There was no touchdowns. I mean, it was.
I know. I mean, I almost put Kyle Pitts in here just to make you mad. So let's go to Cincinnati. I don't like Joe Burrow. It has never been a secret. I don't like him. He's like, that guy that you look at and you just want to like smack upside the head. They have that face. Like I think people probably think I have that face. You know that guy. That's Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I know a lot of those guys. Absolutely.
It could be me. That's Joe Burrow.
I was about to say I'm probably one of those guys to somebody. I'm absolutely sure.
But I've never rooted for him. And then today I stacked him and Jamar Chase in my daily lineup. And I went from like second to like dropping like a rock. I hate daily fantasy football in that league. But he did throw a touchdown. And I was like, hot dog, Jamar. No. Maybe it's Joe Mixon. I need that. No. It's a dude that I didn't know existed on the face of the earth. Andre Iosivas. Congratulations, dude. You had a 3-yard touchdown, but this has to be the world's biggest, most incredible. You can't beat this one, can you? Because it is definitely a
surefire waste of a touchdown. So is he a wide receiver or tight end? What is he?
He is a warm-bodied human being. I think he's a wide receiver. I really have no clue.
All right.
But I'm pretty sure he was a wide receiver because they were down team.
I didn't know Taysom Hill got his QB designation back in one of these leagues I was in. I
really?
It was just
I thought he always had.
I thought he was just a tight end.
Oh, I thought they were gonna give. I thought he was gonna end up getting like a running back designation at the beginning of the year because he was gonna play that so much.
That's quarterback designation. I was like, how is this still going on?
So the Jags are rolling. Remember how we were worried about them a few weeks ago? Then all they had to do was go to London, send the Jaguars overseas. Speaking of a pain for me, they're talking about a Super Bowl in London. That would just be an utter travesty for me, for American National Football League and the people of cities around the country. But that's neither here nor there. It's about the dollar bill for the $1 million bill for them. But Trevor Lawrence, killing it! Through a 10-yard touchdown pass. We said Calvin Ridley stinks. Oh, wait, Christian Kirk got one. This will be two. No. Let us throw it to rookie tight end Brenton Strange. We knew him back in May and June. Haven't heard. He's got a little bit of catches, like a couple, maybe a handful, but nothing else then. So that makes that a
surefire waste of a touchdown. I could have used a tight end in the league today if only I would have known that Brenton Strange would be good this week.
I pulled Dalton Schultz off a waiver wire. It was spectacular. Oh, your 49ers. Christian McCaffrey. No, it's right. He's hurt. Oh, wait. Eli Mitchell's down. Oh, it's deep. No, Debo's hurt too. Man, everybody's hurt on this team. That's why they lost in this garbage game. A name we know because we might have had him at one point and then dropped him, but Jordan Mason, 8-yard rushing touchdown. That's still for this week only, I think.
A surefire waste of a touchdown. I think that'd probably be every week. Pretty much.
Well, if McCaffrey's really hurt right now, this is waiver wire.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm guessing if he's starting, yeah, I guess it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, if McCaffrey's, I think we won't know till Wednesdays. I bet you he gets picked up by a bunch of guys. And this one could have affected me. I was playing against our buddy Doug, and Doug had no running backs apparently. So we started Chris Brooks from the Miami Dolphins. A guy no one knows who he is. We just all thought he might be the Thunder to H.A.N's Lightning, but Mostert's killing it. 9-yard touchdown run. Let's give Mostert some more. He has a gajillion touchdowns. Nah. How about coming off of the injury list, Salvon Ahmed? 9-yard touchdown run. There's got to be someone that played this guy. Of all the four, he probably was the only one that got played somewhere out of desperation. So it's still for 99.9% of leagues is a
surefire waste of a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he was kind of trending on waiver wires. I mean,
Yeah,
he is a backup. I mean, the Dolphins do play him when they need a body, and he does produce from time to time. But yeah, for this week, I could agree that that's a waste of a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be the backup for a while. So, well, that's what we got, JJ Wang. Can you get us out of here? Let's let them enjoy. By the time they've listened to us, they've enjoyed Sunday. Might be getting ready for Monday or going into next week. We'll do our waiver show on Thursday with starting sets. I might even put something correct on Facebook. But give us some wisdom from the sage man of wisdom over here.
Yeah. So after today, looking, how the games went, no matter how long you play fantasy, it just goes to show you that there really are no experts in this game. It's just all luck. Nobody can predict any of this stuff. It's just insane. That's what makes it so good. You just absolutely have no idea. I'm just as good as the next guy. You're just as good as the next guy. And another word, and Mac Jones might actually be the worst quarterback in the NFL. So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.